Welcome back to the Fit Dad Club podcast. My name is Travis Jones. I'm here with Jason Barrett for another week, another month. It is December. It is the last month of the year. 8% of the year to go, guys. It means we don't start in January. It means we get our shit together and get started today if we haven't already. Guys, how you doing today, mate?
Doing good, man. I've started my shred in anticipation of December coming up, in anticipation of summer. See if I can reveal the slabs of lean muscle that it took me 10 months to hopefully put on. By slabs, I mean slithers, but we'll see. For those of you who don't know my physique, I'm not the most mesomorphic, predisposed to gaining a shit ton of muscle mass. But we'll see what comes out. But now I'm feeling good, and I'm pumped to talk about why people need to not throw away this part of the year and just write it off.
It's interesting, right? Like we have two completely different body types. You're more of an ectomorph, I would say. And then when we say this, guys, this doesn't mean you can't gain muscle, and it means you can't lose fat and all the rest of it, right? There's three different types of body types, or somatotypes is what they call them. There's an ectomorph, which is normally a little bit skinnier, a little bit of like a hard gainer. So you have to work harder to gain lean muscle mass. There is a endomorph. So it's more of like a round apple shape. Like those guys need to work a little bit harder they'll gain muscle mass, but they have to work a little bit harder to lose fat mass. And then, people will generally transition into an endomorph if they leave it long enough. And then there's a mesomorph kind of in the middle, that they can gain muscle and they can gain fat. I reckon I'm a mesomorph myself. Like I can gain fat quite fast if I don't actually dial my nutrition. I'll blow out 5 kilos in a month if I'm, not training and all the rest of it's going the wrong way. So I think it's sometimes knowing, okay, this is my body type, but also not allowing that to stereotype you into not achieving the goals that you're after. It just means you have to work on it a little bit harder. Do you agree, Jace?
It's just knowing. It's like knowledge is power, right? And awareness precedes change. So me knowing, hey, unless I start, and it's also knowing how many of the guys you see on Instagram are also on some kind of steroids. Knowing, all right, it's tempering my expectations. I know I'm without extracurricular help, I'm not going to look like fucking Chris Bumstead. I'm not going to look like the influencers that are posing at 5% body fat with heaps of lean mass. So I'm not judging myself based on that expectation. I know what my body type. I'm never going to have like the muscle bellies and insertions that Trav has because I'm taller, I'm lankier, right? I've got longer limbs. My pull-ups are fucking, twice the distance I've got to travel to do a pull-up. So, and I'm going to, do that on my strengths. Now, Trav is also a better runner than me when my physique dictates that I should be a better runner than him. So I clearly have to fucking lift my game. But it just, it highlights for you, like, what do you need to invest energy and time into? Like, I know what I'm going to be like predisposed to be good at, and I know what's going to be harder for me. So I'm not expecting myself to end up looking, super fucking jacked, but I'm still going to put the effort in to get the results that I can get with my body type. And it's just, it's not beating yourself up with comparison, really.
Yeah, I think it's understanding genetics a little bit and then playing your strengths as much as you can within those genetics. And I think when we look at it, before we sidetrack too far out of this podcast that we're going to talk about today, obesity or being overweight, like a lot of guys will say, is genetic, and it might be genetic for the 0.5% of people out there, under 1%. But a lot of it's lifestyle factors. So please don't pigeonhole yourself into I'm genetically overweight or genetically predisposed to being overweight. 99% of you, it's just lifestyle choices. And I talk to guys all the time, right? They're like, oh, I think my metabolism slowed down or it's genetic or whatever it is because since 30 I've gained weight. Well, since 30 you had kids, you probably are moving yourself up in the corporate ladder if that's your job. So you're moving less. And generally we start to move less during the day and move less on the weekend as well, right? So, and then because of that, you're probably training a little bit less, which means you're losing muscle mass. Now, all those factors together are lifestyle factors. Now, and you're probably in a relationship. And when you're in a relationship, you tend to eat more comfort food, right? So it just happens as well. And you're not trying to look as good, for the opposite sex. A lot of people out there, once they're in a relationship, they're in a comfort zone or a complacency zone. So you have all these like lifestyle, environmental factors that play on gaining weight that have nothing to do with your genetics. And that's typically why, guys 30 to 40 plus start gaining weight. It's not a metabolism thing. Your metabolism actually doesn't start slowing down until you're 60. Right, between 30 and 60, your metabolism stays stable. The reason why you gained weight is because your lifestyle factors completely changed. Whilst we have now overcome that, we'll move into what the podcast is actually about today, which is don't throw away 8% of your year. Like, I talk to guys all the time, and so do you, Jace, you'll jump on a call over the last couple of weeks. Oh, I'm just going to wait till January to get started. I'm just going to, I've got a lot on at the moment. So I think, the new year, I'm going to become the new me then. And today is the Christmas edition. One, we're going to tell you, one, why you shouldn't put it off. And two, tell you how to actually still getting results throughout the Christmas period or the silly season. And I think I want you to challenge all of you listening to this. It's like, don't be the guy who puts it off until January. Like, don't be the guy who says, I'll start in January. Be the guy who's like, you know what? I'm going to start now. And if you are the guy that maybe thought, you know what, January is your time, I want you listening closely to that because, that one sentence is costing you progress. It's costing you momentum, confidence, and it's probably costing your identity. And I think that's a big thing. So to start with today, Jace, I want to talk about the hidden cost of starting in January, the cost that probably people don't realize. And the truth is, when you say, I'll start again, or I'm starting in January, you're mentally giving up 8% of your year, especially right now. We're not even in December. So every month is about 8% of the year. So you're giving up 8%. Now, you wouldn't throw away 8% of your income. I'm pretty sure you wouldn't. You wouldn't throw away 8% of your sleep every single night, right? Because all of a sudden, that's a massive 8% of my income. That's crazy. Imagine if the government taxed you an extra 8%, you'd be pissed, okay? So, just because it's 8% of your year and we're not putting a value on this time, I don't think that's the right way to look at things. Every December though, dads throw away 8% of their year because they're consciously choosing to lower their standards. Every December, they're like, you know what? I'm not going to chase, a certain level of progress in December. I'm going to press pause. And you don't even pause, right? You start to accelerate negative habits. And you're drinking more, you're eating more because mentally you've checked out, right? I'll start in January. Your brain goes, well, if I'm starting again in January, I may as well eat all the food and drink all the alcohol and skip all the things until then. We consciously or subconsciously sort of check out. And then we're stacking losses instead of wins. And you start reinforcing old identity or poor identity behaviors opposite to the ones you want to try and create. So it's harder to unlock them. And this is why most dads gain 3 to 5 kilos every December, which is quite insane. So they start that I'll start in January 3 to 5 kilos heavier than, we're just talking about right now, which means there is less momentum and it's even less motivation and you're just feeling even worse about your current health. So Jace, what's your thoughts on this, mate?
Yeah, like I talked about it a tiny bit in last week's where I talked about like the summer shred and like just kind of like what is your plan if you want to get shredded for summer, but like it's only like 4 days as well. You're throwing away. It's even worse. It's like you're trimming a fucking brisket or something like that. It's like, all right, I'm gonna, what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna like start hacking at it and just throw huge chunks away. Where it's like, no, you just need to trim the fat, right? The only things that you're going to be really doing, like anything that might require you, if you really want to go overboard on, is like maybe your work Christmas party. By the way, don't recommend going overboard on that. Right? It's our work Christmas party is going to be me and Trav doing some kind of fucking fitness competition on live stream against each other or some shit, which I might lose, but I will lose proudly. It's like work Christmas party. It's Boxing Day, Christmas Day, New Year's, right? And then you've got like a month and it's Australia Day, right? Like that's it. And people throw the baby out with the bathwater over those couple of times where, you like, I should say, you're not going to throw away 8% of your income. You're not going to throw away, 8% of your meal at a restaurant, just like, unless you're doing a shred. But you wouldn't willingly get rid of those things, but you're intentionally like, oh, the whole thing is a write-off. And it comes back to that perfectionism thinking. If I'm going to get started, I have to do it right. Now, studies and research shows that people who start when it's hard and stick it out when it's hard, stick it out in the long term. But if you wait for the perfect time, it's like everything's going to align and I'm going to be so organized. I'm going to ask for new meal prep containers for Christmas and, all of this kind of stuff. I'm going to dust off the shed and set up the equipment that, that I've got sitting there. Cool. You can do all of that sort of stuff. That'll be awesome. But if you start it now, while it's hard and while you haven't got everything figured out, you're far more likely to stick it out into the future where kids are going to get sick. Things are going to happen. Your schedule's going to change. You're not going to be able to do it. Like you're going to be able to keep these results for a longer period of time because you've started it in adversity and you've learned how to just maintain it as a part of your life rather than go, everything needs to align for me to do this and I've got to block out all the noise for 8 weeks. But then it's like, cool, when the noise comes back in, you've got zero training and zero idea on how do you actually maintain when times get tough. Times get tough. shit hits the fan, you're back at the same point again next December.
Yeah, man. Like it's quite interesting, right? You mentioned that it's literally 4 days, right? Generally 4 days. There's 31 days in the month. You're saying 4 days, and because of these 4 days, I'm going to put it off my health and fitness till the next month. 4 days is 12% of your month. Like it's nothing. You have an extra 88% of your month to still get progress. And to be honest, 4 days of every month, you're probably pretty shit, right? It's just this is scheduled shit instead of being crap at randomness. So because you're scheduling, overeating or the parties or whatever it is, you're saying, no, I'll put it off. I think knowing that you can control 88% of your month, it's the opportunity to build the momentum. And I think that's a big thing. Like you don't want to put on the 3 to 5 kilos over the month of December, which puts you 5 to 8 kilos behind, right? Like you want to start putting like the momentum forward, press pause, and even lose 1 or 2 kilos over the next month. And all of a sudden, like you're getting that momentum ahead of the game. And like, you're starting January further forward than you are in December, but you also have these habits that you're starting to work on. You already understand tracking. You already understand, how to win. I think that's the big thing that we want to talk about in this podcast. One, the reality of the fact is like, don't put it off. 2, you have 88% of your December still to focus on. 3, it's 8% of your year. So that's enough to worth actually putting a focus on this as well. And 4, you're just trying to make excuses to try and be a gluttonous pig. So let's not make those excuses and let's go, you know what? If I am going to be successful, how am I going to do it? And I think that's what this podcast is really about. So first, mate, the strategy behind December, right? Because, this isn't just some form of hype. We want to make it practical, right? We don't want perfection, right? We want minimum standards. I think minimum standards across the month of December is the key thing. Like we have flaws on everything that we want to look at. 8 to 10,000 steps a day, right? You can do this every day, okay? You just can. Like I can do it, you can do it, everyone can do it. 3 to 4 training sessions, protein target every single day. Even if you're overeating your calories, it still can hit your protein target, right? And 2 liters of water and maybe track 70% of your days, right? 70% of your days across December. That means like you've got a fair few days where you don't have to track. These standards, these keep your identity as the fit dad intact even when life gets busy, right? I think that means you have the ability not to track 10 days across the month. You'll still hit 70% and you'll still hold the fit dad identity and you'll still move forward and progress towards your goals. What do you think, Jace?
No, I agree. It's like the whole thing around minimum standard is this is what your maintenance mode is going to be for a lot of people, right? It's like this is once you hit your goal, your baseline of your standard operating. Like I've got a lot of guys who, coming into this period, a lot of them have lost 10, 15, 20 kilos and have just been kind of, things have been busy and they've been cruising, but they've been maintaining. They've been continuing their weigh-ins, they've been continuing their check-ins. And there's research that shows as well that the longer you can maintain at a weight after a fat loss, the more likely you are to stay there, right? Like if you can maintain a weight for 3 months after you lose it, then you're far more likely to stay at that weight because your metabolism adjusts, your hunger and your appetite adjusts, your insulin sensitivity adjusts to that new level of body fat. So your hunger naturally kind of sits in a better place. The reason for this is like that, having that maintenance mode mentality of, cool, I'm going to at least keep things kind of, in a good place. And for a lot of guys, obviously starting to progress is important. If you go from doing 5,000 steps to then hitting 8,000, 9,000 steps a day, that's going to be enough for you to lose fat, but it's also going to be enough for you to maintain your results in the future. So you're kind of setting that standard now of how, if I'm going to keep this, if I'm going to be the fit dad, if I'm going to sort of change this, it's going to be just like an easy, simple minimum thing that I do, and it becomes part of who you are, right? And part of instilling any habit, we've talked about this with, Atomic Habits and James Clear and stuff like that, never miss twice, right? If you miss a day of 8,000 steps, you make sure you hit it the next day. If you miss a day of protein, you make sure you hit it the next day. And even if you fuck up half the days, that's 15 more days that you were hitting steps, doing training, hitting your protein, drinking enough water. That's 15 more days than you were going to otherwise. Right? So you've got to take the wins, you've got to stack those wins up, and you've got to kind of give yourself a pat on the back. And as Trav would say, just like me, right? That's just like me to hit this goal, to tick this box. Do a sticker chart for yourself if you have to, right? Like whatever
Yeah.
works. If you got your kids doing sticker charts for brushing their teeth and eating their veggies or whatever, do the same shit for yourself. Whatever gets you motivated to hit that minimum standard of of progression, of moving forward, of not sliding backwards. That's probably one of the big things that we want to avoid in December.
Mate, I completely agree, right? And I think when we're looking at this, just some specific practical things, right? Across every meal, you have a protein first rule, which is one of our biggest meals as far as the fit dads. Like, just go, where's my protein? Anchor every single meal with lean protein. It doesn't matter if you're, on one of those 4 days or not on one of those 4 days that's sort of there to sidetrack us. Protein fills you up. It stabilizes hunger. It stops the binge and spiral before it starts. It's the simplest and easiest way to stay in control without feeling restricted. So I think that's a big thing for us. So on those days, whether it be the work Christmas party, don't grab the canapes flipping around unless it's like some sashimi, right? Find some protein, eat the protein. You don't need all the carbohydrates. Like find a plate, fill it with protein, focus on that, and then have some carbohydrates around that. If you're having alcohol, limit the carbohydrates, have some salad. On the days of like the Christmas Eves and on the days of the Boxing Days and Christmases, you want your plate to be at least half protein, right? You do not want it to be 3/4 potatoes, right? Like have half protein, quarter salad, quarter potatoes, right? I think that's the big thing as well, right? Like if we're filling up with protein, it just has a 30% thermic effect of food. So 30% of the calories are burnt off through digestion. Now, protein is probably one of the tastiest things out of everything anyway, whether it be other than maybe your baked potatoes in 7 types of cream and cheese. But
It's up there.
it's up there. Yeah, exactly. But for yourself, you're going to feel better if you go higher on the protein anyway. So any day and like have the protein, save the ham, have the protein the next day, put a salad next to it. Like I think that's a big thing when we're looking at this, like just focus on hitting your protein first. I also think the next point is point 3, Jason. It's a big one, right? Enjoy Christmas without being super gluttonous, right? Some people, go the whole YOLO approach. Oh, you only live once. Let's just keep eating all the food. So guys, like you don't feel good after it. Like you simply don't. The next day you want to lay on the couch. You don't want to do anything. Your kids are there. They're like, Dad, come out and play backyard cricket. Dad, come for a run. Dad, do the slip and slide. And you're there hungover, maybe feeling like you're about to bath. And then you're shoving more food in your face because it's Boxing Day leftovers. When in reality, like, it's not your last meal, right? Like you're not on death row. We don't need to try and get as much in our food as possible. You're probably going to have a few more Christmases and a few more meals. So enjoy your favorite foods, load up with protein, eat slowly, right? No one's going to steal your food, mate. It's your house. It's okay. Stop at 7 out of 10 fullness. You don't need 3 plates. Maybe 1.5. Okay, maybe if you normally go a 3-platter, or maybe 1 and then have a little bit of dessert. And you don't need all the dessert and all the snacks and all the leftovers and all the starters and then all the beers and then all the drinks. Like, you just don't need it all. You might want it all, right? You might want it all, but you don't need it all. Like, you want a lot of things in life, right? But you don't need everything that you want. How about you just start acting in line with the best version of you? And yeah, you don't have to go all obsessive. You maybe not going to track your food on Christmas, but that doesn't mean you have to do the opposite, right? And just like eat every single thing under the sun. It's the same as Easter, when you start eating 53 eggs because it's the last day you could ever eat chocolate. When the reality is the chocolate will be there tomorrow as well. And the reality, there'll be more ham the next day. If you want to buy ham on the first week of January, you know what? You can learn to buy fucking ham then too, right? Like ham's there all year round. It just is.
It's not seasonal. I think it's a huge point. Is like, and this is what I try to teach all the guys that we work with, right? It's like, make a choice because you want to, right? Make it a choice, not make it a restrictive. I can't ever have this another time, so I've got to fucking load up on everything. It's like, do you really want to have a handful of peanut M&Ms right before you have your lunch? Well, probably not, but you do because it's there and it's sweet, and it's like you don't normally have them around. But it's like, you can buy a fucking packet of them at any point in time if you really want them. But most of the times, you're just eating things because they're there. And like, there's not I don't know how most people do Christmas, right? Like, I try and prep a really good, like in terms of what I bring to our family Christmas, I home cure a ham. Last year I did pulled pork. I home cured a ham, right? This is my sort of thing that I do. So I home cure a pork leg, salt it, do the fucking curing salt, do like a bit of like a honey whiskey glaze, and I smoke it in the smoker, right? It's still ham, right? It's a little bit fattier than like a lean ham, but it's like still mostly lean meat. And that's the main thing that I do, and that's the thing that I fucking look forward to eating. I don't really look forward to, like, I don't know about everyone else. I'm like, potato salad is like fucking fat on carbs, and it is just average. I don't care much about cold potatoes and cold creamy cheesy, like, it's not for me. Maybe like a potato bake I might have a little bit of, but there's never actually that much at Christmas that I'm like, oh, I'm really dying to have this thing, apart from the thing that I fucking bring, which is, as you said, it's the protein. So you load up on a couple of things that you like, you enjoy, you go, cool, I'm going to pop this on my plate, this on my plate. You can always go back for seconds. You can always go back for thirds. I've never met someone who has undercatered for a Christmas where there's not been leftovers, right? So it's like, it's not going to run away. As Trev said, you've got it the next day. You've got it the day after. Like, it's going to be there for ages. And if not, if you really, really want, like, you're like, I actually really want to have this thing, you can go out there and get it. But I don't want a pavlova. I don't give two shits about a pavlova. It's the dessert most people have. Cool, be my guest, you enjoy it. If I want egg whites, I'm going to have an egg white omelette, right? I'm not whipping it and baking it into a cakey thing with some fruit on it. But just like, have things because you're choosing to have them, not because it feels like you're restricted at other times. Have it because it's like, this is a thing that I want to have and I actively want to include, and not just because of a fear of lack, right? It's the same thing with drinking. It's like, don't drink just because you feel like you can't drink at any other time. Drink because you actually, you know what? I feel like having this drink. I feel like, you know, enjoying it and having it for what it is. Don't drink it just because, right? Just because everyone else is doing it. Make your choices because of you and because of what you want. And as Trav said, it's like, food is always going to be there. We live in a very abundant country, right? For most people listening, it's like, you live in a very abundant country. You've got a lot of access to a lot of food. It's not going to go away, right? So don't treat it like it's your last meal.
Yeah, man. I think peer pressure is a big thing. Like, if you don't want to eat the extra food, tell, you know, them you don't want to eat the extra food. Like, you don't have to load your plate up 33 times if you're at someone's house. Like, no one actually judges you for it, and except, you know, if you're in an Italian household, none of us going, eat the more food. But I feel like, you know, you probably get that said to you anyway, no matter what. Even if you ate more food, she would still tell you to eat more food. But I think, like, for all of us, mate, like, I completely agree with you. It's focusing on, you know, having a bit of a plan. It's not overeating on that plan. It's understanding that, you know, the ham or the fish or the whatever is probably the best part of it. In reality, the part that doesn't make you feel sick afterwards. You know, Liv makes some like mini pavlovas. I maybe will have one of those, like these little sort of palm-sized ones. She does. I'm not even a big pav person, but I just eat it because Liv makes it. And, you know, I do that because she's my wife. And if I didn't, she'd be like, what's wrong with my cooking? And I think it's just controlling your environment, guys. Like, you know, and, you know, this is your holiday as well. You know, if you go into someone else's house, or, you know, your folks or your father-in-laws or your mother-in-laws or whatever it is, right? Like, you go in there, you eat the food, you have a conversation. If you don't want to drink as much, then don't drink as much. And no one can force feed you, right? That's been frowned upon for a long time. You're not a duck and you're not foie gras. So I think, like, you know, you just focus on what you can control. And then if you want to have a nap, go have a nap. They're like, oh, you can't nap. Why not? Yeah, have a nap if you want, then go for a run with the kids and play some cricket and feel great. Like, have a 20-minute power nap, and then, you know, you might be good to go and enjoy your day. I think the biggest thing is, don't write yourself off that much with alcohol and food that you can't actually do the main thing, which is play with your kids, right? Because Christmas is the most exciting thing for them. You know, Santa gave them stuff to play with, and you know, I would say that you want to try and be there and have all the energy in the afternoon, not to lay on the couch, but they're out there playing with them, so you can create memories, right? That's why we do have kids. I think we got to walk after big meals. Okay, this is a big one. You know, it aids in digestion. 10 to 20 minute walk flattens glucose spikes, so it improves digestion. It stops all day grazing because, you know, otherwise our blood sugar levels will have high fluctuations and we'll have high cravings all day long. So just go for a walk. You know, they are your cheat code in December. After dinners, pre-Christmas, pre-everything, like, just should start walking for 10, 15 minutes after your meals. Like, you just should all the time. But especially after a bigger meal, Christmas Day, Boxing Day, or, you know, Christmas Eve, whatever you do, because it's going to stop you walking back to the fucking fridge, right? Because you're going to be walking outside. Two, it's just going to sort of switch off that hunger cue. I think that's a big thing we look for as well.
I think so. I think too many people get so caught up in that, like they forget their hunger cues, and they're just like, they do things out of automation and out of habit. It's just like walk to the as soon as I'm done, I walk to the fridge or I grab another serving or whatever. But we talked about this with like behavior replacement, right? If you're going to do something different other than what you've been doing in the past, you've got to actively try and do something different. It's not easy. It's not as easy to just go, oh, I'm just going to not go back for seconds, or I'm just going to not go to the fridge. It's like, you know what? After my meal, I am going to go for a walk, right? I am going to drink a glass of water, right? By focusing on doing something, right? The walking is going to help with your digestion. It's going to help you feel better. It's going to help everything move along, and you're going to, you're going to feel better once you come back afterwards. And it's going to give your body time to digest and register the fact that you're not hungry anymore. So like intentionally tacking a habit onto the back of something is another way to really, really make it stick. So it's like after the meal, you get up, and even if it's just walking around the pool or walking around the front yard or walking around with the kids or following the toddlers around or whatever it is that you have to do, having that intentional time of, cool, I'm going to move my body. It doesn't have to be the most intense power walk of your life, but you're moving your body. You're not just going to, sit back and just like, the gluttony and sit there continuing to sink beers. Move your body. It's going to help your digestion. It's going to help a shit ton of other things. Like tacking that habit onto the back end of eating is going to make it an easier way for you to do it. And it's just going to be, if it's something that's automatic, that's a rule, as we've talked about rules. It's something that's automatic, it's something that's a rule, you just do it, then it's going to be a lot easier for you to stick to, rather than, do I make the decision to get off this comfy couch because like enough, a body in rest will stay at rest, a body in motion stays in motion. The longer you're sitting down and you're like, the harder it's going to be for you to get up. So just get up and do a little bit of a walk, move your ass.
I agree, mate. Then the next one is you want to train in the morning, right? Across these days, if you've got time off over Christmas and New Year's, like start every day and set the tone. Set the tone for your day, right? Quick session. Doesn't have to be a big session. Could be 20 to 30 minutes. Could be a bodyweight circuit if you wanted. Some squats, push-ups, sit-ups. Could be some body rows if you have the ability to do that. Get your full body in, right? It's going to deplete some glycogen levels. It's going to help, stabilize again blood sugar levels. I think it's a domino habit that makes you start making better choices later in the day. It stabilizes hunger, increases willpower. And I think, for us, training is a keystone habit for our health and fitness for most men. So, no matter what, I don't care if you're a bit hungover, I don't care if you can't be bothered and you're on holidays, the holiday version of you still does something for 20 minutes, right? Like, your body is not having a holiday, you're having a holiday from work, if you are. I think the next thing is don't graze all day, right? Still stick to a meal structure. I think the biggest thing is, right, like when guys are having time off work, they start to eat nonstop because they're bored. Two, their food availability is way higher. Like in their house, there's a fridge that can constantly open and it's magically, it has food in it all the time. So, the ability to continue to eat, like boredom and procrastination sort of kicks in, and that's how calories start to blow out quite fast. So again, simple rules, right? Eat meals like, breakfast, 7 a.m., 12 p.m., 5 p.m., right? Like lunch, dinner, and stick to those times. Like keep the meal times normal. Just because you can eat at other times doesn't mean you should eat at other times. And avoid opening like the calorie floodgates at 10 a.m. If you start like, okay, you had breakfast at 10 a.m., like, oh yeah, I'm a bit hungry. And all of a sudden from 10 till like 7 p.m., you just kept grazing all day long. And that is a great way to blow your calories out really fast. So train in the morning, set your structure as far as your meal timings. Those are two key things that we need to be focusing on.
100%. Like you need to make sure that you're not like little meal, because it's really easy for you to never feel completely full and you eat a shit ton more that way. Whereas I love to in the morning, right? You go like, for me, eggs are a huge hack for the morning of any time where you've got like, you're either going to be offered a lot of snacks or you've got to last a long time until your second meal. Like eggs, super filling, decent amount of protein. Go some eggs with some fucking ham. Just hack into the ham a little bit early. Eggs and ham on a bit of toast, because eggs have a lot of fat. They're going to slow down your digestion. I find I'm so much more full if I do eggs, especially like eggs and egg whites and like an omelet. I'm stuffed for like I struggle to eat until like 1 o'clock if I have those in the morning. So eat decent sized meals, but actually, as Trav said, have meal structure. Have a structure of, I'm going to have breakfast, lunch is at this time, so this is what I'm going to have. And even it's like, cool, if I am going to have a snack, I've got like a portioned out snack where I know exactly what I am going to have. I'm going to have one of these things that's laid out, or I'm going to have a piece of fruit, and that's what I'm going to have. And then that'll tide me over until lunchtime, because it's like, oh, you want to try all the little things and all the little extras, but it's like they're always going to be there. All of those things are so full of fucking preservatives. They're going to last for a year, right? You can pop them away in your cupboard and they'll be fine, right? You can have one of those a day for the next 365 days, one of those little chocolate covered almonds, and you'll be fine, right? You have them all in one day and you'll feel like shit. But yeah, just be aware of your tendency towards snacking. Some people are super snacky. Some people will snack even if they have a bigger meal. So just know what your tendencies are. I know that unless I'm feeling really full, I will tend to snack. So I just got to make sure I have nice big meals, and that's what I focus on.
Yeah, and like if you know you've got issues around certain foods being in your house, just give everyone the leftovers. That's problem solved. Right?
Oh, you take it. You take it.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not even going to eat it. I couldn't possibly.
Exactly. Load everyone else up. I think that's a good plan for everyone as well. I think the last one for us guys is the morning after rule, right? I think this is a big thing. Like if you had a big day yesterday, you drank some extra alcohol, you had some extra food, I want you to, like that, the hangover is a lot just dehydration. So before you go to bed at night, it's like knock back a liter of water before you go to sleep, put a pinch of sea salt in there. That's going to help hydrate you. You wake up a bit better. Wake up with a glass of water with some sea salt as well. Protein meal heavy first, which is just like, like Jace just explains, like high in eggs, have some ham, drop the carbs maybe for that next morning, and then go for a long run, right? Or go for a long walk. There's nothing wrong with going for a run or walk, depends on where your fitness levels are the night after you feel a bit hungover. No guilt, just back to your standards. I think that's a big thing for us. We bounce back, right? We flip the switch and we stop the spiral from, spiraling out of control, because it's very easy from, Boxing Day until New Year's Day to just like be in a food, alcohol, sugar coma, right? And that's the issue. People put on 3 to 5 kilos because they start eating on Boxing Day. They stop eating on New Year's Day, maybe, the 2nd or 3rd of January. And that's not how to live life as the best version of you. Also, this is when you make the most memories. Do you want to be the hungover, overweight guy in the corner who can't get out of his couch because he's so tired and so drunk? Like, that's probably not the way you make the memories with your kids that they want to have. You'll make memories, but they'll just remember you in the couch on the corner, drunk. So make different memories than that and make them about going fishing, going running, do fun stuff, be active and energized. I think, we became dads for certain reasons, right? So I think that is a big thing we want to look at. I think if we can do these 7 small steps across the month of December, it's definitely going to set us up for success, guys. But I think the reality is this is much more than just December. It's about who you're becoming, right? And it is creating that line in the sand. Dads who wait for January stay stuck all year round because they're always looking for the excuse to put it off, right? Oh, I'll start again on Monday. I'll start on January. I'll start off on my birthday. I'll start when life gets less busy. I'll start after the vacation that's coming up. Mate, there's always a fucking reason, right? There's always a reason why you have to start later on, but there was always the best day to start, which is today, right? The moment you're listening to this podcast. And we don't want to be the dad who stays stuck year after year. Because if you had New Year's resolutions this year and you didn't hit them and you're already saying, I'm starting here in January, it's a fucking lie. You're just trying to make yourself feel better, right? We're constantly trying to make ourselves feel better. So the dads who lead themselves in December, they become the man their families can look up to. And this month is your opportunity to build discipline, right? While everyone else drifts, you design. You design the fit dad that separates you from the old version of you. And, for us guys, that is the most crucial thing. There is the 2 identities. Which one are you leaning into when times get hard? And December is one of the hardest months. So we have to lean harder into the fit dad identity. So if you are listening to this, I want to challenge you guys, right? Like, don't give up 8% of your year. Don't mentally check out. Don't reinforce the old identity. Use December as the time to build momentum. Like, I want you to start now. I want you to lead now. I want you to show your family what discipline looks like even in the messiest of months. Not just because, on the easy ones you can execute. Your family wants to know how you do it in the hard ones. When the shit hits the fan, when, the chaos happens, when the randomness occurs. Like, how do you play your cards then, right? When it's a little bit tougher. Because the dad you want to become, he doesn't start until January. Like, he starts now. And if you want help with that, guys, go to fit-dad.club. We can have a call, talk about where you are, talk about where you want to be, talk about how to close the gap, okay, between the two. So where you are, where you want to be, how to close the gap. We design a plan for you. We coach you over 6 months to completely change your life. So that's fit-dad.club. Anything you want to share, Jace?
No, but if you're listening to this and you want to take action, we're doing a special where I know people struggle with December, they struggle with consistently. So if you want to get started, we'll coach you in December for free, right? You can do the 6 months with us. We'll do December for free, and we'll do the 6 months from January onwards. So if you want an incentive to take action, we can take that action for you. We take that out of your hands so you don't have to worry about it. So you go, cool. December is your way to feel these things out, so you could still feel like you're moving forward. And you can still feel like you're getting something done and getting momentum. What would David Goggins say? If life's hard, you just get harder. So just get hard and get through the hard times, and we'll be there to support you through that.
No worries, guys. And until next week, have a great version of your week, being the fittest version of you, the leader that your family deserves. And we'll chat then. See you guys.